Today we're going to be mounting a fascia mount rail system to this deck. Instead of doing a surface mount, which is what we normally do, we're actually attaching these posts to the side of the deck, and then we're doing a glass rail system by a company called Regal Ideas. So I thought it'd be cool to show you how we're gonna do a fascia mount. So we have a couple precautions that we have to take on this particular deck because we have a special waterproof pan system underneath the decking and behind our trim, which meant I had to push everything out a little bit for the pan, so we have a little bit deeper underhang of our fascia. Now we only have 1 inch. We have these special brackets. This happens to be a corner bracket. This is a fascia bracket, and it attaches to the deck with these 4 bolt holes. And we have to fur this out a little bit because we had to make some spacers, because if we don't make the spacers, the bracket's not gonna work on our deck. So we've made spacers for the corners. We folded these nice corners, okay? See that, huh? You like? And another challenge is our deck is on a slope like this. Since our deck is sloped like this, if we try to mount all the rails at the same height, across the front, it's gonna go like this, and then our glass will be installed like this. And we would have to have custom glass made, each piece like this, in a parallelogram to make it look right, and we don't want to do that. So what I did was I ordered a 42-inch high rail system instead. Normally we do 36, but because we're doing a fascia mount, because there's 2.5 inches of offset from the, let's see, it'd be the east side of the deck to the west side of the deck, we are going to mount our posts over here on the low side, and then if we mounted these posts over here on the high side, it would look like this. So we're gonna drop these posts into plumb with these posts so that our glass railing is level, even though our deck's gonna be on a slope. So we have to shim out the posts with some spacers. We have to adjust for the height, which I've already justified with a laser level, the Stabila. I'll show you guys that in a little bit. We gotta mount our spacers to the deck, and then we can mount our fascia mounts to the spacers and to the deck. And we're gonna use 4-inch timber locks to do that because it's the right length. We're gonna be going through this spacer, a piece of fascia, then I have 1 3/4 inches of an LVL, and that's barely gonna clear this length. And then on the front side, I have a glue lamb, so I could actually use longer fasteners, but we're just gonna use the same fasteners for each location. But the first thing I have to do is get the spacers figured out that'll get our fascia mounts out around the outside of the deck. And you'll see that as well, what I'm getting at. So the only other thing I'm gonna do is whatever side I choose on top, we've taken our straight spacers and we've cut a little bevel so they drain. So if the water gets down into here, it's pitched on each side so the water drains off. So I'm gonna do the same thing to these 2 corner pieces, so that if any water happens to sit on top of here, it has pitch, so it'll wick off. Instead of trying to go backwards, it'll kind of go sideways and drain away. So I'm gonna cut those in, get that done, and let's start mounting up some brackets. So what I was getting at was, here's our other spacer, and there's just a 5-degree bevel on the side, so if any water happens to hit this, it drains off and just doesn't sit there. So all right, so now we have all of our spacers made. Now I gotta start installing them. So what I'm gonna do I'm gonna install the corners and the ends, and then I'm gonna take a tape and kind of measure out where things go. I might even install the corner brackets and the end brackets, and then figure out where my center brackets go, and then we'll get all those installed, and we'll get them to the right height, and then we'll go from there. Not bad. Okay, so that's our first fascia mount in. Now I gotta go do the other 3 perimeter points, the corners and the far end. And then once we get those in, we'll be able to figure out our center fascia mounts, and we'll get those in as well. And we also have to figure out elevation. I kind of know what my elevation is on this side of the deck and on the far side of the deck. I just have to figure out the middle run. We'll have to chalk a line and then hold our brackets to that line. So we'll get going on that, and then we can actually start installing the posts. Okay, so now I have my perimeter brackets figured out. I'm going to start measuring and figure out where my center brackets go. I'm gonna start on this side and then chalk the middle and then mark out the other side and get all those installed. Okay, so 268 divided by 3. Okay, 67 inches. Sometimes when you're doing a layout, and you're that close to being right in the center of something, I'm gonna go ahead and cheat this measurement a little bit. So optically, it just looks better to have a center post right in the middle of this board. So I'm off about an inch, not even that, maybe a half an inch. So I'm gonna go ahead and choose center of this board versus true center, because it'll look better when it's installed if it's right in the middle of this board right here. So that's what I've chosen to do. So what I'll do now is I'll get a measurement from here to here, and I'll divide that measurement in half so that my center post is truly centered. And then I doubt anybody's gonna pick up on that except for you guys. I don't think that too many people walking down the alleyway are gonna see the difference. So 134 1/4. So my measurement's 134 1/4 to there. So now I'll take 134 1/4 and divide that in half, and it gives me 67 1/8. So then I'm gonna go back over here and erase that line and draw a new one. And I'm marking the centers of these posts because it's gonna be difficult to mark the right side of them. So I will subtract from the right or left to get my actual center, or my right or left of the post, when I go to install these. So now I'll do the same thing. I'm gonna measure this other side, and then I'll divide that in half. And this is probably the only side I'm gonna worry about doing this on, just because it'll look so nice to have the center post right in line with this center break. If I was off, you wouldn't be able to tell. If I was off and you couldn't tell a difference, then I probably wouldn't spend the time doing this. So I got 133 3/4 over here, divided by 2 is 66 7/8. Okay, so then I'll come over here and go 66 7/8 from center, right there. Okay, so now I have this side completely laid out for my posts, and then so as far as elevation, I already know where the elevation needs to be on this side. I can go ahead and install this side, but while I'm at it, since I'm doing layout right now, I'm gonna go ahead and lay out the rest of the deck so that I don't have to worry about doing the layout since I'm in layout mode. Sometimes that's quicker than trying to install one side, lay it out, put in the brackets, everything that needs to be done. I'll just get it all done right now, and then I'll go to the next set. So that's what I'm gonna do real quick. Keep those screws. All right, guys, so that is how we are installing a fascia mount post on a rail system. These are still loose, okay? So once we get all the top rails and bottom rails in, we'll put a set screw underneath here where you really won't see it, and we'll be able to adjust our plumb a little bit that way as we go along. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to click that subscribe button, hit that bell icon to be notified when we're putting out new content, and don't forget to watch those shorts. Thanks for watching, guys. Have a great day.